Hello, Jamie Novak here, your holiday organizing specialist, and today we're talking holiday calendars and to-do lists. The first thing I want to suggest is that we all just take a deep breath. It can start to feel a little overwhelming, the thought of having to cram in all the holiday tasks along with just everything we need to get done day to day. It'll be okay. There's plenty of time and we are going to get it done. In fact, I've got a few simple solutions to share with you today. The first is when we talk about the holiday calendar, we're going to want to work backwards. Now, this may sound a little odd, especially if it's not something you've heard before, so let me walk you through how you're going to work backwards on your holiday calendar. The great news about this concept is once you get it down for the holidays, you can actually use it year round. It's not holiday specific. So I think you're going to love it and it's going to simplify your day-to-day living year round. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to put the absolute deadline on our calendar. So let's say we need to mail gifts to out-of-town family members and we need them to be there by the 24th, so we need to mail them in advance of that, and accounting for any delays and not shipping on the holiday weekends and things, we might say, okay, we're going to put them in the mail on December 15th. So that goes on your calendar. Post office, mail gifts to so-and-so on December 15th. Of course, in order to put the gifts in the mail, then you're going to need to have put them into shipping boxes. And before you can put them into shipping boxes, they need to be wrapped. And before you can wrap them, you need to have bought the gift wrap. But before you can even buy the gift wrap, you need to have purchased the gifts. So we're talking about continuing to go backwards on the calendar, giving yourself realistic and ample time to get these tasks accomplished. So you may be actually shopping for the gifts on or around the 1st of December, which means you'll have made your shopping list of what gifts you want to buy them at the end of November. So you see how you're kind of making this plan in advance, but doing these little bite-sized interim deadline tasks that then by your big deadline, December 15th, the boxes will be packed, taped up, and ready to get out the door. That's the difference. If we didn't work backwards, then what would happen? It would be December 22nd, and we go, oh no, we're supposed to get something to so-and-so out of town. And you'd race to the store, and you'd pay extra for shipping, and then you'd, be kind of frazzled, and we don't want that. We want the opposite of that. So that's where this working backwards is really a great concept, and it works every time. The trick is to look at your calendar the night before and to pick that next task that you need to accomplish so that you can meet that final deadline. So another example that I have for you would be, let's say you were hosting a cookie swap, or at least involved in a cookie swap, and maybe the swap was happening on December 20th. Well, in order to have your batch of cookies to bring together with all of the other guests' cookies so that you can each take a batch of each and then you don't have to bake a dozen cookies, you just have to bake a dozen of your kind and then swap for the difference. So that means you'll have to bake probably on the 19th, the day before the swap. So you would need to buy the ingredients maybe on the 17th, and you need to pick your recipe maybe on the 16th so you know what ingredients you need on the 17th so you can bake it on the 19th so you can swap it on the 20th. So it's just that little bit of planning backwards and making that timeline to make these things happen. And it really does work. So I love this concept of working backwards on your calendar. It really only works if you look at the calendar the night before and plan your to-do list for the next day. So that's where this to-do list success comes in. If you overload your to-do list, and this is a very common mistake, it's going to cause you unnecessary stress. I promise you. You really can't get 20, 30, 3 pages of a to-do list done in a day. It might sound great, but this is where you kind of set yourself up to fail because you've got this grand plan for the next day, and then all of a sudden you're distracted, a little minor emergency happens, it snows, you're feeling under the weather, whatever happens, and you're like, oh my gosh, it's halfway through the day, I didn't get anything accomplished. We're not going to go down that road. We know it doesn't work. We've tried it, and it never works out the way we plan. How do you get these things done? We're going to choose one holiday task, and you're going to look at your calendar and see what that next task is. So it might be choosing the recipe for the cookie swap. It might be making the list of guests. It might be making a menu. It might be picking out gifts. Whatever that next task is, and you want it to be bite-sized. And we'll know it's a bite-sized task if it's going to take you 18 minutes or less. If you think it's going to take you more than 18 minutes, then you want to break that task up into an even smaller denomination. Otherwise, you're going to need hours to get the task done, and we just simply don't have hours in a single day. But we do have 18 minutes. So you want an 18-minute task, and I know you may not be done. Let's say it's party planning. Well, you may not be done in 18 minutes, but you can do a portion of it, and then you can come back and do another 18 minutes. So that's the difference. So we're breaking it up into a bite-sized task, and you're putting that on your to-do list for the day. And that's really how you're going to move these little tasks along so that by the time you get to the absolute deadline, you're done. And this is how we avoid the cramming everything into a single room when company's coming so that they don't see the clutter, or it's how we get the bathroom cleaned before guests arrive. It's how you have the supplies on hand to do any crafting or decorations. It's how you have the ingredients already in your kitchen when you start baking. It's that little bit of preparation by making a bite-sized task on your calendar and then on your to-do list. So I hope that this really simplifies it for you. It may sound like you're actually doing less, right? Because you're thinking, well, I used to do, half a page on my to-do list. But when you think about it like that, were you really getting any of that done? And chances are, not really. So although it may sound like we're doing less because we're choosing one next task, you're actually doing more because you're consistently doing that one next task for the next day. And because you've started so early in advance, you've got plenty of time to get these things done. Getting started is often the hardest part. And by far, that is the most difficult challenge. We procrastinate. We want it to be perfect. We overplan. And this really takes all of the guesswork out of it and makes it so super simple. If you're questioning it and saying, I don't know if this is for me, it sounds a little too simple, I don't know if it's going to work, please just try it. Choose one small task, 18 minutes or less, to do tomorrow and see what happens. And my best guess is that by the end of the day, you'll have accomplished that task and maybe more, but you'll have met your goal, and that's a recipe for success. That's how we get the holiday of our dreams. This has been Jamie Novak, your holiday organizing specialist, wishing you a clutter-free day.